Just to keep you informed, before I start this meeting, couple of things. I'm sure there will be certain questions also from the audience. I request them to put them in the chat box because it will not be easy. It will be difficult to ask each one of you to speak and raise your questions. So it will be better if you put that in the chat box. We will go through that and respond. And you also mention the name of the speaker to whom you are going to pose that question. So this is the basic, requirement of the seminar, and I'll now start. It is a great moment for us in IFGE that we are starting the first webinar series today with German Biogas Association, with whom we signed an memorandum of understanding recently. Thanks to Ashish ji and Brijesh Patel ji from managing partner of Indus Eco Partners, who Ashish ji, everybody knows, he is the managing director of Verbio India, a German investment in India, large investment in India for CBG sector. So since he interacts with German industry as well as Indian industry, we thought it is important for us to, join hands with German Biogas Association, because we are in a formation stage in India with respect to biomethane, CBG is concerned, and we need to learn a lot from other countries. And Germany, of course, is one of the leading countries in biogas and biomethane. So if we create a platform of exchange of knowledge, information, it will help both the countries, both industry of both the countries. So that is how we planned this webinar, and we had a very good response both from Indian side as well as German side. I am thankful to our German partners, particularly the Dr. Claudius da Costa Gomez, the CEO of German Biogas Association, and Mr. Frank Hoffman, the international affairs in charge in German Biogas Association, who were quite positive to this kind of association, and were very positive for organizing this webinar series also. So it is the start, but we will be taking other initiatives also in due course of time, which will benefit industry of both the countries. So I will not take much time. We will start this webinar, which is on a topic of understanding the Indo-German CBG market. We thought we should not go into a complex topic first. First topic should be to understand the industry of each other, country, and what the Germans are doing and what Indians are doing, and how we can, collaborate, how we can benefit from each other through this webinar. So thank you all of you for joining. I also thank Ramakrishna ji, Mr. Y.B. Ramakrishna, who is the Senior Vice President of Indian Federation of Green Energy and also the Chairman of our CBG Producers Forum. And when in Government of India, Ministry of Petroleum revised the biofuel policy of the country in 2018, Ramakrishna ji was the working committee chairman who designed that, policy. And that is how we are, witnessing lots of positive developments in bioenergy sector in India. The ethanol blending, which has gone up to 20%, the CBG sector, which is growing fast in India, and many other areas. So to start with, I will request Shri Ramakrishna ji to please deliver his welcome address, and then we will go to the other speakers. Ramakrishna ji.
Very good afternoon to all the participants in today's webinar from India and from Germany. I'm very happy that IFGE has been having a memorandum of understanding with the German Biogas Association, and I am pretty sure that there is going to be a long mutually beneficial association with them, and it's going to benefit the biomethane industry both in India and Germany. So I take this opportunity to welcome all the participants, and hopefully we're going to have some meaningful discussion as Sanjay ji mentioned, this is only a beginning and there will be a lot more interactions in the coming days. Let me also take this opportunity to give a brief background about the Indian biogas program. This is not a program which is new to us at all in India. Way back in 1893, from what I have understood, the world's first biogas plant was set up in Mumbai based on the cow manure, and it was operating for a very long period of time. And in the recent past, in the 1980s, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, they came up with a very ambitious program. And in a matter of about a decade and a half, we set up more than 4.5 million small and medium-sized biogas plants in the country. And most of these biogas plants were home-based biogas plants in the villages and some community-based biogas plants. And there were some medium-sized plants also, but the application for the biogas was basically for meeting the cooking needs of the rural areas, and also to a small extent industrial heat and also for the electricity generation. In the year 2018, the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas came up with a program called SATAT. Under the SATAT program, SATAT stands for Sustainable, and Affordable Transportation, alternate transportation needs. So for the first time, we were looking at upgrading the biogas to biomethane and then using it for transportation application. Incidentally, this program is quite a ambitious program where we are looking at setting up 5,000 commercial plants and generate about 15 million metric tons of compressed biogas or biomethane from various different types of feedstocks, such as the agricultural residues, municipal solid waste, and some of the industrial waste like press mud and spent wood that comes from large number of sugar mills that we have in the country, and even the food processing units. All their waste streams can be used for biogas generation, and also looking at animal dung, which is available in huge quantities and which are collectible also for this kind of a purpose. So, in the since 2018, I mean, after the program was announced, we had some challenges of the pandemic, and the progress was quite slow. And in the last 2, 3 years, we have made some progress. And today we have little more than 110 plants which have been commissioned and producing biomethane. And I think, the total, capacity from this, I think is somewhere around 800 tons per day kind of capacity is what we have today. However, they're not all of them have been functioning at full capacity. And, as I mentioned, we have a long way to go to set up 5,000 commercial plant. So what are the kind of challenges that we have in the entire value chain? Like the feedstock, the conversion technologies, upgradation, and then again on the policy, do we really have the right kind of policy support and the ecosystem to market the gas and the fermented organic manure? And then, are we getting the right kind of the pricing support for all of them? These are some of the issues which we need to address as we go forward to make sure that the industry becomes not only sustainable and but also becomes profitable. So, with those kind of comments, I would stop my talk. I'm sure we have Ashish ji who will be able to give deeper overview of what we are going through at this point of time. This sector is going through at this point of time, and look forward to hearing the German experience and how we can learn from each other's experience and make sure that the biomethane program, is going to help us in achieving the net zero targets that the world has in the coming days. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramakrishna ji. So before I move on to Dr. Claudius, I would like to introduce Ravi Gupta ji also, who is here. Ravi ji, you can show your video. He is the executive director of Renuka Sugars, one of the largest ethanol plants in the country, sugar and ethanol plants in the country. And he is also the chairperson of our Sugar Ethanol Forum. He also introduced Mr. B.B. Thombre ji. He is the president of Visma. He has already introduced him, based out of Pune. So now I move to Dr. Claudius da Costa Gomez. He is the managing director of German Biogas Association. He has an agricultural background. He has done his PhD at the Institute of Animals Physiology and Animal Nutrition at the Jurg August University in Göttingen. And he has been the managing director of German Biogas Association since 2019, but he was in the management of German Biogas Association since April 2000. German Biogas is one of the largest, associations of Germany in biogas, with over 4,800 members. Is In fact, it's Europe's largest organization representing the interests of biogas industry. It represents all manufacturers, plant constructors, and agricultural and industrial biogas plant operators throughout Germany. The biogas industry has now created over 45,000 jobs, mostly in the rural regions of Germany. So it's a great pleasure having him today with us and delivering the welcome remarks from German side. So I request him to please unmute and take this discussion forward. Dr. Claudius.
Thank you very much for this kind introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, partners and friends from India and Germany, on behalf of the German Biogas Association, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar, Understanding the Indo-German CBG Market. I'm delighted to see so many participants joining us from both countries and beyond, demonstrating the strong and growing interest in biogas and biomethane as a cornerstone of our sustainable energy future. Today, we gather at a pivotal moment. The world is facing immense challenges: climate change, energy security, and the urgent need of decarbonization our economies. Compressed biogas offers us a unique opportunity to address these challenges by turning waste into wealth, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and fostering rural development. We have heard about this already. Germany and India have both made significant strides in the biogas sector. Germany, with its long-standing experience and advanced technologies, has established itself as a global leader in biogas production and utilization. India, on the other hand, is rapidly scaling up the CBG sector, driven by ambitious governmental initiatives and a vibrant entrepreneurial spirit. There is much we can learn from each other. The Indo-German partnership holds enormous potential. By sharing knowledge, best practice, and innovative solutions, we can accelerate the development of robust CBG markets in both countries. Collaboration can help us overcome technical, regulatory, and financial barriers and unlock new opportunities for investment, job creation, and sustainable growth. Today's webinar is an important step in this direction. Over the next hour, you will get from our expert Ashish Kumar and Frank Hofmann essential key information on the CBG markets in India and Germany. I encourage you to engage actively, ask questions. We have heard we will use the chat and connect with each other. Let us use this platform to build bridges between our countries, our industries, and our markets. In closing, I would like to thank our partners, IGF, our speakers, the organizers for making this event possible. Your commitment and expertise are the driving force behind our shared success. Together, let us shape a cleaner, greener, and more prosperous future through biogas. Thank you very much, and I wish you all an inspiring and productive webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Claudius. So you really, explained the importance of this kind of a platform and this kind of a cooperation between Indian and German industry, which is really useful. Thank you for your, kind words. I move on to Mr. Ashish Kumar. Ashish ji is our, as we, fondly tell him, address him as Ashish ji. He is the managing director of Verbio India Private Limited. He has a background of being engineer from Nagpur University, then I have masters in from BITS Pilani, and then his management from Germany. He served in services, Navy, and then he, moved on to Verbio, one of the leading and largest biogas companies in the country. He's also the vice president of Indian Federation of Green Energy and the vice chairperson of CBG Producers Forum under IFGE. So over to Ashish ji.
Thank you, Sanjay. Good evening, all. Also, thanks to Ramakrishna ji and to Dr. Claudius. I think both the Indian and the German side can agree that it's all about having the right policy framework. That's what specifically makes this sector happen. And I think in this context, India can learn a lot from what Germany has done over the last couple of decades. It's still a emerging sector in India. So what I'm going to be focusing on over the next couple of minutes is to give you an update on where do we stand on the policy front in India, what is the status quo, and where do we see there is some more work required, at least in the next, I would say, about 1 to 2 years. So can we get it on a full?
Ashish, there is a cross next to her. And also on the top you have Ask AI Assistant. That cross you can make now.
So who's handling the slide? I mean, Nidhi, can you bring it on the full screen?
Sir, this is the full screen because it is in PDF form now.
Okay, then let me share my screen.
You unshare it, Nidhi, then he will start
Yes,
from his own screen.
Nidhi, can you make me the presenter?
Yes, okay. You are the co-host. You can make the presentation. Are you not able to share your screen?
No.
Then I will share it if you are not.
Just try once. Ashish ji, please try again.
Okay.
Hello.
No, it doesn't allow me to share.
Try. Yes. Ravi ji has shared. Ravi ji, you need to.
Oh, wait.
You can start. I think Ashish, there's some problem at your end. Start.
Ashish, I am able to share my screen, so
Yeah.
something. And in case
Try
you are
again,
not able.
Ashish ji.
Otherwise, we'll live with what we have. Let Nidhi share it, whatever she can do. आ गया ना नहीं तो ठीक तो है.
Yeah, this works, right?
Nidhi, can you do Control L, please?
Yeah, now it's okay. Perfect.
Okay. Sorry for this. Let's start. This gives you an overview of the policy framework, what we have across the different feedstock types, specifically for agri-residue, municipal solid waste, as well as for the press mud. So how we have structured here is that what are the policies across upstream, midstream, and downstream activities. So we'll start with what is the kind of policy framework which is existing from both central as well as the support what we get from the state government side for specific feedstock type. So starting first with the agri residues. So here the CBG plant, the CBG plant developers, operators who are using agri residue do get support from the ministries of petroleum and natural gas as well as from the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare for the procurement of machinery. Now, the two schemes, there are certain differences in the biomass aggregation machineries scheme offered by the MOPNG. That is where the CBG developer is the beneficiary, whereas in the crop residue management scheme, the beneficiary is the farmer. Both have their financial assistance limits. So, for example, in case of BAM, that is the biomass aggregation machinery, there is a cap of 90 million Indian rupees per project. Whereas in case of the CRM, the scheme, there's really no limit in terms of the numbers of farmers who can be associated with a specific CBG project. So, and the contributions from both sides are also different. So in the first, it is a 50% support, whereas in the second one, the government offers a 65% support to the beneficiary. So that's on the agri residue side. Similarly, if we go into the municipal solid waste, this is where it is expected that the state level bodies or the municipalities they are responsible for providing 90 to 93% of the segregated waste. It is still something which is a big wish list from most of the CBG developers because segregation of waste is a big topic. It is not a fully mature market in India yet. So there are only a few cities who are able to comply to such kind of, let's say, regulation. So this is still an emerging space, and we will probably get to see that over the next couple of months and years, this will start improving in terms of the geographic spread we have in the country. Secondly, the topic of processing fee is also restricted to a few selected municipalities at the moment, whereas in certain municipalities there is a reverse bidding which is getting implemented, or where the municipalities are getting paid royalties. Now, I think this is a particular topic wherein a lot of learning could actually take place from how Europe or Germany has implemented. I mean, not only for MSW, but also for the agri residue or all the feedstock types. So this is also a key point which we should be taking up in later discussions, wherein not only from a policy standpoint, but also to understand, are there technology or equipment providers who can add, who can ease, who can facilitate this entire segregation topic, or when it comes to the aggregation machinery, wherein already a lot of German equipment manufacturers are present in the Indian market. Coming to the last feedstock type, I mean, we have basically simplified into three feedstock types, and I'm not going into a mixed model right now. The third feedstock type here is the press mud, wherein again we have two dimensions to that. One is wherein the CBG developer is backward integrated to the feedstock supply, which means it is basically the sugar mill owners who have extended and set up CBG arm, so that the waste which is coming out of the press mud, from the sugar mill production, that is a press mud which is getting utilized. Now, the second dimension is where these are independent CBG producers, and then they are dependent on procurement of this supply from sugar mills. Now, that is the part where work is still in progress in terms of having long-term supply contracts or some kind of pricing security. So that is something which is still open, whereas the backward integrated part is, at least to our understanding, is working quite well. So these are some policies which are existing on the upstream, the feedstock side. Now, coming to the midstream, the Indian government, central government, from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, provides a capital subsidy of 100 billion Indian rupees, or $1.2 million per project. Now, the project definition as of now is restricted, or let's say the project definition is not restricted, but the benefit is restricted for capacities up to 12 tons per day production as of now. And in addition to the this capital subsidy coming from the central government, there are other state governments also who are coming up to attract new investments into their respective states and offer additional capital subsidies. We will look at it in detail towards the end of the presentation, but this is what is being offered for the capacity build-up. To summarize the activities on the downstream part, currently, of course, the pricing is something which is we have in India, which is indexed to the compressed natural gas. We've had a recent revision wherein the new pricing comes to roughly about it's 1,478 rupees per MMBTU, and plus a compression charge, which comes to roughly about close to $18-19 over here per MMBTU. And India has also introduced the CBG blending obligation, which was introduced in 2024 last year, wherein the first year was a voluntary year, and thereafter current year has a mandate of 1%, and it goes up to 5% in 2028. Now, that has also been introduced by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. In addition to that, one of the most critical things for any CBG plant is to be assured, guaranteed of the offtake of the gas. And this is where we currently have a dual modality over here, wherein most of the plants still continue to bottle up their gas, compress the gas, and then transport it via cascades. That is primarily done because we do not have a very well established grid infrastructure, and that is where the Ministry of Petroleum has introduced a scheme of DPI, that is the direct pipeline injection. This has been introduced last year in September 24, wherein financial assistance is being offered for setting up of the grid up to 50 kilometers, and then there are additional benefits, but lower benefits for additional 25 kilometers. So that's what we have in terms of establishing the grid connectivity. Now, the second element of the offtake is the digestate, which comes out of the production process, and that is the manure, both the solid and the liquid part. And this is where, again, the Department of Fertilizer has introduced the market development assistance of rupees 1,500 which is translating to roughly about $17 per ton, which is basically provided to the CBG developer. The catch over here is that the dispersal of the FOM and the LFOM takes place in a seasonal manner. So it's not a regular, recurring month-on-month financial assistance which a CBG developer gets. So this is a quick snapshot of the status quo of the policy work what we have, and to a large extent IFG has been involved in almost each of these policy introductions. Let's move to the next. Yeah, so as a result of this evolving policy framework, you see how the projects and the gas volume, production volume has developed. So as on 25, as in the financial year here is ending March 25. So as on March 25, we had 100 projects, but as on date, we have roughly about 110 projects as we speak right now, having a cumulative capacity of close to about 750 tons per day. These 100 projects have contributed roughly about 43,000 tons of gas on an annual basis last year, which translates to about 0.6% blending. And if we look into the total natural gas consumption in the, and this is restricted to transportation and domestic sector only. It does not include the commercial and industrial sector. So the total natural gas consumed in India as on last year was 7.4 million metric tons. So this is where we stand at the moment as far as the market, the CBG market development is concerned. Now, if we factor in the new projects which are expected to commission this year in the year 25-26, as well as with the expected improvement in the capacity utilization, we will be roughly about close to anything around 120 to 150,000 tons of gas, which will be almost 3 times of what we have this year. And this will also mean that the blending mandate, which has been set for about 1%, that would be quite easily met if these projections are coming true. Let's go to the next one, Nidhi. So we'll probably try and look into a little bit more detail into each of these. So upstream, we did mention that these are the two schemes which are existing, the BAM and the CRM scheme. The point to be highlighted here is that all these schemes are more towards procurement of the machinery which is used for aggregation, but currently there is no support which is being offered towards any kind of storage infrastructure or operations to carry out the year or the round the year storage activities. So that is also something which is quite a huge cost burden for the project developer. Now there is submission which is in progress from IFG side to the respective ministry. So this is still work in progress. Next, please. So here we are talking about I mean, we have discussed in the numbers related to both the schemes, so I would probably skip this chart. And the highlighting part here is that the storage part is still something which is under development. Coming to the midstream activity, as I already highlighted, that there is a maximum subsidy of 100 million per project. Now, let's focus on what has been proposed by IFG and probably some by other industry bodies or stakeholders as well. Now, as I said, that the current support is restricted to plants which are up to 12 TPD. So we have proposed that the support should be extended to even further medium or large scale plants. It could go up to 25 or 30 tons per day production also. And the second point, what has been recommended is to increase the subsidy amount allocation. Currently, we get about 40 million Indian rupees for 4.8 tons per day of production. Now, this 40 million is proposed to be increased by 25% to 50 million over here. And the third most important recommendation has been that the disbursal of this subsidy amount should be made more milestone based, because currently the disbursal is there are two phases. 50% is upfront, which also has been a recent introduction. 50% is upfront, and the balance is on a certain performance, which is 80% of the rated capacity. Now, since the whole sector and the technology and everything is pretty new in India, so there is a bit of stabilization which could take longer than what was originally envisaged. So this is where we have proposed a 3 or a 4 milestone based disbursal. Next, please. Looking into now downstream activities. So as most people, at least on the Indian side, will be familiar with the two offtake schemes what we have. One is the Satat, which was launched in 2018, and then we have the Singh scheme, which was launched thereafter in 21. Now, from a pricing standpoint, both the schemes have been unified in the last revision, wherein now the pricing has been revised from per weight basis to an energy basis. So we have the new price of 1478 per MMBTU of the gas, which is delivered up to 50 kilometers. And the same logic has been applicable now for both the schemes. The CBG procurement price, as I said, 1478, plus there is an additional cost of 8 rupees, which is recovered. So this is what the current version is, which translates roughly to about 85% of the retail selling price of compressed natural gas in India. Now, in addition, if a CBG developer, since as I mentioned that the grid is not a very well established over here, so if the developer is transporting the gas beyond 50 kilometers, then he gets additional 1.5 or 2.5 rupees, depending on what band of distance we are into, whether it is 50 to 75 or more than 75. So then there is some additional logistics support. But I think the key point here is to really have the grid, at least for the medium and large scale plants, established at the earliest, so that this on-road transportation can be minimized. Let's go to the next one. DPI, that is the grid connectivity part. I did mention about it. So this is basically direct injection into this is the distribution grid. We are not talking about the transmission grid, though work is still, we have submitted our recommendations and we have been part of committees with the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, where injection to the transmission grid, that is the trunk grid, should also be allowed. So we are working on that. So here the government has offered a maximum subsidy of roughly about 3.3 million per project, which is admissible for laying the pipeline, and it could be steel grid or steel pipeline, or it could be MDPE based. This is about the blending mandate. As I said, that the first year, the 2024, was a voluntary year, and current year is the first year of the mandate, 1%, followed by 3%, 4%, and 5% up to the year 28-29. And the renewable origin of the CBG is protected. This is basically, it is the mechanism like the open access, book and claim, mass balancing are proposed to be used for transfer and trading of the energy in green certificates. Now, but this is really an open topic at the moment, because there is no mechanism of issuance or registry or monetization of the gas renewable or let's say the green attributes as of now. This is still something which is under discussion or evaluation by the respective ministries. We'll talk about it in a bit over here. Let's move to the next. This is exactly the point of green attributes. Now, currently, we do not have any mechanism wherein any kind of issuance or registry or the green attributes is taking place, or some kind of mechanism where the blending is getting recorded and certificates are getting issued for that. So this is something which is we have to work together with the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, or maybe also the Ministry of Environment over here. So this is really a big open topic at the moment. This is not established and is still under consideration. And this is where I think probably we need to establish a one-on-one, some kind of a working group together with the German Biogas Association also, because in Germany, this is a very well-established mechanism. Whether we talk about going via registry mechanism or via the proof of sustainability, now these are mechanisms wherein a lot of learning and adoption could take place in India. So I would highly recommend that this is something which we should be taking up bilaterally between the two industry bodies. In addition to the central level policies, a lot of states are coming up with attractive policies to attract investments across upstream, midstream, and downstream. Downstream is mostly central managed, so there is not really any specific offer which comes from the state. Mostly it is focused on the capacity buildup, which is the midstream part of it. Now we have states which, I mean, there is a range. Each state is offering certain fixed capital investment subsidy. Now it could be ranging from a 50 to almost a 2,000 million per project kind of production capacity, which is not necessarily only covering CBG, but will have also broader sectors within the bioenergy domain. So for CBG specific, we will have to look into the specific states, what is the offering. There are certain states like Gujarat, which has also come up with supporting on the operational expenditure part, which is something new, which was not offered by any of the other states previously. And we will probably have a quick snapshot on the next page. Can we have the next page? Yeah. So for example, what you see here is on the left side, Gujarat. Now Gujarat is offering support on both CAPEX and OPEX side. The OPEX is something which is something new and innovative, which the state has come up with, wherein there is assistance of 15% of the operational expenses. And of course, there are caps to it. Uttar Pradesh was one of the first states in the northern part of India to come up with very progressive state policies for the CBG sector. Bihar has been on the eastern side a more recent one. Madhya Pradesh on the central part of India has also been a recent one and an attractive proposition here as well, and Andhra Pradesh also. So what is emerging in the last 1.5 years is that states are coming up with specific policies to attract investments by giving capital subsidies, power subsidies, land, or even support on the operational expenditure. So this is how the status quo looks like at the moment. This is a quick snapshot of the number of projects we have in different states as of 24, as in 24-25, that is last financial year, which gives there are certain states. Uttar Pradesh will straight away see the maximum number of 22 projects. Then we have Maharashtra, we have Haryana, we have Gujarat. So it's slowly picking up pretty much across the country. Of course, the concentrations could be different depending on the feedstock availability, but it's pretty much picking up pace across. The last slide what I have for me is that, okay, these are some key action demand areas where we all are working on. We still need to have certain improvements on the upstream part, wherein the existing schemes can be further optimized or linked directly to the capacities of the plant, so that maximum benefit could be availed by the developers. That would be one. The second would be to extend the support to storage as well. Secondly, on the municipal solid waste side, I think the most critical topic continues to be is the segregation level. So the 90 to 93% what is really written needs to be lived. So if once that is getting implemented, I think the MSW projects would be really taking off quite well. Uh, then we have Pressmud, I think, where I think the only expectation from at least the independent developers is to have some kind of pricing uh, uh, de-risking over here, or long-term supplies of the feedstock. On the midstream part, we've already mentioned the proposals what we have made to the ministry for improving the capital subsidy at the central level. And the downstream part, as I also highlighted, the most relevant and the most critical topic to establish the viability of the business case is the introduction of the renewable gas certificates from now on. So this is where we need to work together with partners to learn from other countries how it has been implemented over there. That would be the top of the agenda. And then, of course, it goes without saying that we need the basic infrastructure of grid to be in place. Only once we have the grid in place, then only any kind of mechanism of issuance or registry can be established. So this is a kind of a precondition, and of course, with open access. Is a precondition to really making this whole mechanism for issuance of any kind of certificates will become implementable. And till such time these things are really taking off or stabilizing, we will continue to need support from the government for the dispersal of the digestate. So I'll conclude over here. I'm getting messages that the time is getting over. So sorry if I've exceeded by a couple of minutes, but that's the end for me. And now let's hear what we have from the German side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashish ji, for sharing the snapshot of Indian biogas industry and how it is progressing and what kind of policies are there to support the sector. I think this is the right time for investors to, pitch in and explore opportunities in the sector. So this is the right time that we had this webinar also with German side. So maybe there will be some interest from Germany to, invest in India and look for some opportunities in supplying technologies, machinery, and equipment. So thank you. So I'll now invite Mr. Frank Hoffman, the International Affairs Head of German Biogas Association. Mr. Frank has been working with this Department of International Affairs at GBA since 1998, a long innings. He works on biogas topics and got experiences within several organizations. His main tasks are biogas trainings, biogas plant consultation, research studies, as well as working on several other biogas subjects. So over to Mr. Frank. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for the very nice, kind introduction and for doing this very interesting program together with us, and invitation that I can explain the German biogas market in the next minutes. First question, do you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, in full screen mode, because I can choose between two.
No, you will have,
We can't see the full screen. You will have to
see only
select the full screen.
two
Okay,
screens within one
then
screen.
I have two screen.
Yeah,
probably
now it's fine.
better.
Now
Okay.
it's better.
Thank you very much. So let's start. We are a little bit out of time. However, I will try to compromise a little bit. What I would like to introduce to you today is the development of the German biogas market and how it is used in the electricity and transport sector. And additionally, I'm requested to explain how it is supported from the German government, because as Ashish, for example, stressed, and Sanjay, it's very important to learn from each other, from how the other countries are doing that. In the end, we want the same. We want to have renewable energy, and we want to have biogas, biomethane, CBG in the market. So let's start with the German Biogas Association. Mr. Da Costa Gomez and you already introduced it a little bit. We have 4,700 members. Most of our members are operators of biogas plants, but we have many technology manufacturers as well. About 500 companies are organized in our association. So if you want to get into contact with technology manufacturers, you can ask us and we can help you on that. Main objective is the promotion of the biogas sector. We are defining the legal framework, for example, in Germany, on a European level and on regional level. We are doing exchange of information. By the way, we are a non-profit, non-governmental organization. So we are based on our membership fees. We have the salary for 40 employees who are working professional on the topic. We have an international department. 6 people are working in that department. We are doing biogas trainings, biogas consultancy, organizing the biogas convention and trade fair, one of the big biogas events in December in Germany. If you are interested, contact me. We're working together with many organizations, but due to the looking at the time, I'm just skipping all the details and coming to the main topic. So at the beginning, I see that we have a little bit different kind of wordings. We are used to different wordings. In Germany, we are calling biogas the not upgraded biogas, methane, carbon dioxide, mainly in a mixture. That's how biogas is produced in the digester. When we are upgrading biogas to biomethane, then we are talking about natural gas quality. Typically, biomethane then is afterwards compressed. In India, you are calling it CBG then. So after from biogas, biomethane, compress it, CBG. That's just for clarification at the beginning. And now I would like to explain a little bit the development of the sectors. And in Germany, it started with promoting electricity. So there was a rough or little development in Germany even before we had starting the real incentive system. The incentive system was mainly started in the year 2000. In this graph, we have the years. In blue, the amount, the number of biogas plants in Germany in operation. In red, we have the installed electric capacity. Just for your first impression, those are bigger sized, industrial sized biogas plants. I'm not talking about domestic biogas plants. The average size of these plants are 350 kilowatt electrical, which transfers to about 1 megawatt gas power. That's about the plant. And we see that since the year 2000, there was a huge growth in the electricity sector and in the amount of installation of biogas plants. The reason for that huge growth, I will explain in a minute. At the moment, we are at about 10,000 industrial scale biogas plants in operation in Germany. When we are looking at the biomethane plants, so from these 10,000 plants, how many are upgrading biogas to biomethane? Then we have the number of about 250. So only a part of the whole installed biogas plants is upgrading biogas to biomethane. The reason why this number is much lower is that it is easier to use the biogas directly in a gas engine, for example, and it needs more additional investment to go from biogas to biomethane. However, that's an important part for our industry. Here you see the figures in cubic meters per hour production, 250 biomethane plants. Here's some statistics. I think that probably after this meeting, you will get the presentations. And you can look into some details. What is for a political aspect, for example, very important, the jobs in the biogas sector, 50,000 jobs, turnover, 13.1 billion euro, and the reduction of CO2 in million tons, 21 million ton CO2 equivalents are reduced by biogas. Just a little look into Europe. In Europe, we have about 20,000 biogas plants installed over the year. Light green is biogas. Darker green is biomethane. We see enormous growth, and we see even a bigger growth in biomethane compared to just biogas, but both sectors are growing. Biomethane for sure is many countries in Europe an important point. Back to Germany, how is biomethane used? In green, we have EEG, that's standing for electricity production. The majority of the energy that is produced in biogas plants is used for electricity production. The reason for that is that in the former years, we mainly supported electricity. That was the first incentive system of the government, with the result that now about 80% of all biogas is used in the electricity sector. But what we see as well in yellow is heat use at household level, process heat, for example. We have the fuel sector, that's in blue, and the fuel sector is rising very much. So if I look into the future, electricity will be still relevant. However, the fuel sector is growing more than the electricity sector. How is the system of incentivizing the production? So government, the whole society wants to have something. In this case, electricity from biogas. How do they get that? In Germany, the most interesting instrument to promote electricity, EEG, it was coming into effect in the year 2000. That was really the driver of the system, and it defined dedicated feed-in tariffs for electricity for 20 years. That was extremely important. 20 years feed-in tariff that makes the whole investment very reliable. You can really calculate with dedicated feed-in tariffs. An additional important point was the priority of connection to the electricity grid. Before the year 2000, that was not easy for renewable energy systems. However, that's the basic. This kind of instrument was adapted, introducing bonuses, introducing new requirements. I will not go into all details, but in essence, we can say from the German example, if electricity was incentivized at the beginning with dedicated feed-in tariffs, bonuses, now it's getting a little bit more complex, but mainly, or shortly said, that was a successful instrument in Germany to promote biogas. Now we are looking to biomethane. So this is electricity. Now biomethane, CBG. How do Germany tries to promote CBG? Our system is that the sellers of fossil fuels, so the big mineral oil companies or all people who are selling fuels on the transportation market, they are obliged to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. So there was a year, 2019, I think it was, where the calculation was defined as this is the standard greenhouse gas emission from the transportation sector. And the fossil fuel sellers have to reduce their greenhouse gases in a certain way. You see here in the graph how much the greenhouse gases must be reduced. In the year 2025, now we are above 10% greenhouse gas reduction compared to the default value in the past. This quota is growing, and by that having a higher demand of greenhouse gas reduced. How can this quota be fulfilled? That are the classical ways, CBGs, for example, biodiesel, bioethanol. All sellers have to fulfill their quota. If they don't fulfill the quota, the penalties are very high, about 600 euro per ton not fulfilled quota. So the result is that the sellers, the mineral oil industry, is really looking for CBG, biodiesel, bioethanol. All greenhouse gases are converted into CO2 equivalents to reach the greenhouse gas quota. I don't want to make it too complicated, but just a little word on the quota. There's sub-quotas as well for advanced biofuels. CBG is one of those advanced biofuels. So here we have the quota. And as an example, in gray is the full transportation fuel. In green is the quota that is rising from year to year. In little blue, you see a little spot. That's a sub-quota for advanced biofuels, for example, CBG, in form of bio-CNG, bio-LNG, and so on. And the sub-quota is rising as well. So there are two additional points for the CBG market. One is the general quota, and then the sub-quota, which is driving the demand for CBG in Germany. And again, I don't want to get into all details because then it's getting very confusing. But just an additional point, how is the greenhouse gas emissions defined and calculated? Ashish Kumar already mentioned that there's a very extended registration system, some registered methodologies how to calculate the greenhouse gas emission. Here we have an example from the Renewable Energy Directive that's on a European level. And on that level, there are some aggregated values of greenhouse gas emissions defined as default standard values. And it's depending on the input material, manure, bioorganic waste, energy crops, and it's even defined due to the type of technology. For example, if the storage of the digestate is open or is it closed, if the additional gases are used. So complicated system, but each operator of the biomethane, of the CBG system, can decide if he does a greenhouse gas calculation and life cycle assessment by himself, or he is using these kind of default values that are officially provided by the European Commissions. What is the most important, of course, for the industry, for the market, it's the price. So having said all those kind of regulations and showing a little bit how it is organized, what is the price that comes out of that? And here we see the cent in kilowatt hour to calculate rupees to cent. I think the calculation to dollar is not really 1 by 1, but 1 to 17% more. So, but we can say it's about a similar range, price range to dollars. So the value that an operator can get as a price for biomethane is depending on the quota. So the quota has to be fulfilled. If there's much green energy in the market, then the price of the quota goes down. If there's not enough bioenergy to sell for the mineral industry, then the price is going down. So we have a price marketing system. And here we see the typical ranges, which are typically in the past years. So from 30 cents per kilowatt hour, that's a very attractive price for selling biomethane. It went up to above 40. Now the price is going lower to 12, 15 cents per kilowatt hour. But this graph gives you an estimation how biomethane can be sold on the market. We don't know exactly how the market will develop, but there are 2 points, the rising quota and the rising sub-quota, which probably have the effect that the price for biomethane will rise in future, and that will incentivize the market. There's an additional information for you. There's an international market transfer in Europe. So the countries are selling biomethane. Sweden, for example, is selling much biomethane. Denmark is producing more than they are selling. Here you see a very rough overview about exports and imports. What is important for such biomethane trade is, of course, what Ashish already mentioned, a good functioning registration system. So in Europe, we have a registration system for biomethane injection into the gas grid and for injection, and additionally a system that is proving the sustainability. So each volume of biomethane that is injected into the gas grid at one point of Europe is exactly registered with the energy sustainability criteria, the feedstock is defined, and so on. And with these kind of registers, the carbon dioxide reduction certificates can be traded. In the end, transportation fuel has two values. One is the heating value, the physical heating value. The other is the green value. The green value even brings more revenues than the heating value itself. Coming up to the end, I would like to summarize what I have said. Biogas plants are state-of-the-art technology in Germany. We have about 10,000 biogas plants in operation. 215 of them are producing biomethane, CBG. If we look to Europe, the combined biogas and biomethane production amounted to 223 terawatt hours. That is around 6% of the gas consumption of the European Union, and it's equivalent to the gas consumption of Poland, for example. We should have in mind that biogas is not just energy production. It offers many benefits around that. So we have the energy, electricity, transportation, fuel, hydrogen connection, but we have fertilizer. That was already said. In Germany, each amount of input material will be used as fertilizer. The majority is going to agricultural fields, but there are some products that are going for landscape material, for example. There are certification systems to certify the quality of the fertilizer. Fertilizer is an important point for our scene, biogas scene in Germany as well. We have waste treatment and a well-established operational system to use waste. About 500 dedicated waste treatment plant in Germany. And of course, biogas offers greenhouse gas emission reduction, carbon certificates. Coming to the last slide of this presentation, if you're interested to have more information, we have a biogas know-how series, brochures published about biogas in general, bio-waste to biogas. If you are interested in the technologies of how to upgrade biogas to biomethane, this brochure might be interesting. Digestate as fertilizer, important point for Germany. And not to forget safety. Each biogas plant should be operated, reliable, safe, and sustainable. Thank you for your attention. That's my input.
Thank you, Frank. So it was really enlightening, and we got a lot of information on what Germany is doing in this sector. I'm sure it will not only benefit the Indian industry, but it will also motivate them to, progress more in this sector. We will also take some, insights from that industry and how we can also, push certain policies which can be beneficial to the industry with the government. So thank you once again. So before I go through the chat box and look at the questions that were posted, I would like to, introduce our friend, Mr. Brijesh Patel, the managing director partner of Indus Eco Partners. Why I am introducing him is he is based out of Germany. He also helped us in connecting with German Biogas Association, and we will definitely there. I can see there are certain questions where you are asking for some more information from Germany or some tie-ups from Germany. So we will definitely put that across to German Biogas Association, and wherever Mr. Brijesh Patel can pitch in, he can also help us. So if Brijesh is there, he can just say hello.
Hello, I hope you can see me and hear me.
Yes, yes. We can see Brijesh. So he is the managing partner of Indus Eco Partners. So we'll take his help also in case we have any questions or any services from Germany required. And I would also like to introduce two important events that we should keep a note of. One is in the September, being organized by Indian Federation of Green Energy. This is the second edition of Bioenergy Expo that we are organizing with the support of industry and the government. And this will be held at Yashobhumi on from 24 to 26. This is the only comprehensive composite exhibition on all sectors of bioenergy, including the compressed biogas. We also have one event in Germany, which Mr. Frank was mentioning about, in the month of December, organized by German Biogas Association. Since some of the companies here are interested to, look at German industry from the point of view of maybe sourcing their technologies, equipment, and other things. So they can also visit that exhibition. Probably we will launch a delegation for that event with the help of German Biogas Association. In fact, we are also working out some possibility of a German pavilion at the India Biotechnology Bioenergy Expo and Technology Expo in September. So just wanted to keep you informed about these things. I'll now go to the chat box and see if there are some questions. A couple of them I had answered, but and some of these have been. Yeah,
Sanjay,
Ashish, please tell me.
Sanjay, one thing. Frank, it's Ashish here. So I see a couple of points in the chat box related to equipment suppliers in Germany, for example, for agitators and maybe a couple of other equipment as well. So, um, is the association able to share a kind of directory or a catalog of the members, what you have, the equipment suppliers, which we can circulate with our members?
Yeah, what we have is an export list. I will send you the list that you might share with the attendees. Export list, there are companies who are in the export market. It's differentiated from biogas, turnkey projects, supplier, and components. And there's an additional European tool or worldwide tool, biogasplatform.eu. I will share that as well. And not to forget our brochures, which I shortly introduced. And there are company profiles and reference plans in those brochures. After this meeting, I will send you the links and the information, and you can share it with the attendees.
No, this will be excellent. Thanks, Frank.
So there are some other questions also. I think we'll have to do some homework on that, and we will put them across to German Biogas Association and seek their answer. For example, I look at one question I would like to ask, considering Indian conditions and various aspects, what would be the recommendation with respect to purification technology for a long-term perspective? I don't think it will be easy to, answer it offhand. Maybe we can do a specific, work on that and send it to the German Biogas Association, and then they can maybe answer this and connect you with the right kind of a company who can help you on these aspects. We'll keep a note of this. Paddy straw, I have already mentioned, it is BAM machine scheme is only for paddy straw. We can see one question, BRM and CRM subsidy scheme available for applying. Is there any derived formula pricing for biogas, GCV, CSM with respect to parity of biomethane? Ashish, would you like to answer that?
No. I'm just saying we can probably check for a few questions with Frank. So, for example, the last one what we have here, Frank, is there's a question which says in Germany, are any of the companies working on dual feed, that is spent wash and pressed mud from the sugar mills for the production of CBG? I'm assuming there's no sugar in Germany, so this context does not arise, right?
We have sugar beets. So in India,
Sugar
you
beets.
have sugar cane, and in Germany, we are using sugar beets. And indeed, there's a very close connection to the sugar industry and biogas, because nearly all sugar industries are using sugar beets and they are having a biogas plant because the press mud is used in the biogas plants. So the combination is even in Germany an important point.
Okay. Then
Just to answer that one more, the spend wash part of it, we don't have the spend wash because most of the sugar companies are only generating sugar and not the alcohol part of it.
Yeah.
Then we have this. Are there any laws in Germany with specific focus on food waste disposal?
Yes, there are plenty of laws for that. So the first point is that in Germany, the households have to separate their waste. At the household level, we have a green bin and landscape material, and so it's all separated, collected, and that's the essential part of to transform it further to biogas, for example, or to compost. The separated bins, there are many regulations on that, on the quality, avoid plastics, for example. And it even goes further. If waste is used in biogas plants, again, there are plenty of regulations for that to control the quality. Very important is hygienic effects, for example, that all waste material has to be sanitized by a process on the biogas plants. That's for sure. For short, there are many. We even could make a seminar on waste treatment and regulations. But one point is important, that the quality of the digestate, that is really defined and certificates to ensure that the quality is well, and the buyer of the digestate knows the quality of that.
For both the solid as well as the liquid part.
Yes, for both.
Okay. So, I mean, what at least what I see is that there is a lot which can be exchanged and learned from the German experience. So, what we'll probably look at, Frank, is maybe establish a couple of working groups, which could be specific to a particular waste type, and then we will see how we are able to get this information transferred from Germany and see how it is received by the regulators at our end. So that's probably going to be one of the areas where the two associations can really work very closely. Because I think all these questions cannot be answered here, because we are talking about regulations for municipal solid waste, and then we are talking about the regulations for in situ management. I mean, these are quite extensive documents. I've seen it myself from the German side. So these are really big, thick documents. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important in Germany to have experts on that. We have two experts in the German Biogas Association just dedicated to understand and help our members the waste digestion aspects.
So what I suggest is, there are many questions. What we'll do is we'll compile them, send answers to them directly. And still, if there are more questions, they can, mail it to us and we can, have it forwarded to the right person who can answer them. And I think there are certain questions have already been addressed by other, participants. And in fact, there are some business queries also. They have been replied by, the other participants who are probably in that sector. So I think it was quite useful. So we have crossed the time limit. So we will keep on meeting like this in quite often in future. And maybe if possible, we can also have some sort of buyer-seller platform in future which can be created where, we can get the interest of Indian companies in advance, and then we can share that with German Biogas Association and Bridges, and then they can share that information to their members, and based on that we can have one-on-one meetings, or even on this Zoom we can have a buyer seller kind of a discussion. So I think it was quite useful, and it will definitely help both the industries in both the countries to progress and learn from each other. So I'm thankful to Dr. Claudius, Mr. Frank, Ramakrishna ji, Ashish ji, and all other participants, including Ravi ji, Thombre Saab, our friend Brijesh Patel, and all other industry members who have participated in this webinar and made this quite successful. We'll keep you posted, and stay tuned. Thank you once again for your participation. So we close this meeting, and thank you once again.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this very interesting webinar. Looking for the next
from our
ones.
office, Nidhi from IFGE is the point of contact. You can send your queries to her. She will also try to answer these questions after this webinar directly to the participants. So thanks once again.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
And
Thank
bye.
you.